Fergie is preparing to go nuclear, to drop the bomb that for a long time she has resisted.
Harry and Meghan are incredibly nervous about the possibility of a tell-all memoir from Sarah Ferguson.
And here is Meghan Markle posting on her Instagram, going to the island. That's Little St. James. And by the way, this plane, PJWIT, was flying to Little St. James, especially on that day that she posted this story.
A stunning new report from the Sunday Express reveals that Sarah Ferguson has just faced a harsh reality across the Atlantic after approaching major American publishing houses with a bold proposal for a tell-all memoir asking for a staggering $2 million. Yet, instead of interest, the response was a wall of silence, with several publishers rejecting the pitch outright and others not even bothering to respond, leaving the Duchess of York without a single deal on the table, despite the explosive promise of royal secrets.
She knows the way for the big payday is a Prince Harry-style autobiography. A $20 million advance, like Harry received, is what she wants.
One Hollywood insider reportedly explained the reason with brutal honesty, saying no one in the industry wants to be seen helping her profit from a scandal that has already shaken the royal family to its core, which means the $2 million request was swiftly dismissed and the woman believed to know more about what truly happened behind palace walls than almost anyone alive could not even secure a simple meeting to discuss the story.
And the people who are most terrified about this are Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, because it is Fergie, of course, who could reveal all about what really went on with this couple and the British royal family and Andrew behind the scenes.
But here is where the situation begins to turn from embarrassing to potentially explosive, and not necessarily for Fergie, but for Meghan Markle. Because a rejection like this does not kill a story, it can make it far more dangerous. A woman holding royal secrets, Epstein connections, and private emails has just learned that playing politely with publishers leads nowhere, and when someone in that position starts running out of options, the stakes rise quickly, which is exactly why the people who should be watching this closely, especially the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, are reportedly growing deeply uneasy.
As far as we know, this is a real email. This is in the Epstein files, yet nobody's touching it. It is very telling, again, how the mainstream media is refusing to address this.
According to Radar Online, multiple publishers had already shown curiosity about Ferguson's potential tell-all, and insiders claim she could still turn that attention into a deal that secures her financial future while the Sussexes. The same couple who reportedly received around $20 million for their own revealing book Spare are now said to be nervous about how their past behavior and private conversations might be portrayed by someone who witnessed many of those moments up close.
That memoir, or a memoir of that scale, would of course revisit some of the most controversial moments in royal history, including the fallout from Megxit.
Tom Sykes, writing for The Daily Beast, described the quiet fear circulating among royal courtiers as what he called pulling a Harry scenario, meaning a massive book deal exchanged for a narrative the palace cannot control. Yet, there is a key detail few people have connected so far. American publishers saying no does not mean publishers in the United Kingdom have refused, and it certainly does not rule out Australia or other international markets. And beyond traditional books, the possibility of a streaming deal or a high-profile television interview still sits very much on the table.
The press is completely ignoring this. The press does not want to touch the fact that Meghan was called as a witness by Virginia Roberts, who said that she was a close associate of Prince Andrew. And of course, it's not in anybody's best interest to have Meghan Markle testify, because they know that she knows a lot. And this is why this woman is flaunting her impunity around, or feels untouchable.
An insider speaking to OK Magazine revealed that Ferguson has been studying the path Harry and Meghan followed almost like a blueprint, beginning with a major televised interview, moving into lucrative streaming projects, and eventually ending with a best-selling book. And according to that source, she sees the approach as a proven formula not only for revenge but also for rebuilding financial stability, adding that she appears determined to follow that same three-step strategy as she prepares to go completely rogue against the royal family, which insiders warn could spell serious serious trouble for the institution itself.
She needs the cash. She thinks it's already too late for her daughters because William is slowly marginalizing them.
To understand why Meghan in particular may feel vulnerable in all of this, you have to look closely at one relationship that rarely receives enough attention: the connection between Meghan Markle and Princess Eugenie. Because while many people only know the surface story, the two women were reportedly genuine friends, and according to Omid Scobie's book Finding Freedom, Eugenie even described Meghan as exactly the energy Harry needed, with the pair enjoying double dates together and spending luxurious holidays with George and Amal Clooney at Lake Como.
That Meghan utilized Beatrice and Eugenie to get closer to Prince Harry, and I think that that's an element of the story that Harry and Meghan leave out.
Then in 2020, when Harry and Meghan stepped away from royal life and relocated to California, something else quietly happened behind the scenes. Princess Eugenie and her husband Jack Brooksbank moved into Frogmore Cottage, the very home the Sussexes had renovated using millions of pounds in taxpayer funds, meaning the couple lived inside Harry and Meghan's house during one of the most chaotic chapters in modern royal history.
Eugenie not only went to the Super Bowl with him, we've seen her in Montecito with her husband having dinner with Harry and Meghan. Eugenie lived in Frogmore Cottage amongst their things, amongst Meghan's journals.
And here's the detail that could make people in Montecito extremely uncomfortable, because Eugenie's mother is Sarah Ferguson, and the bond between Meghan and Eugenie was not just casual friendship. It developed during a stressful and confusing period when Meghan first entered royal life, reportedly overwhelmed by palace protocols, struggling with staff relationships, and trying to understand an institution she had never experienced before. Insiders across several outlets have claimed Eugenie became one of the few people Meghan leaned on for support during that time, which meant private frustrations, personal stories, and sensitive details about life inside the palace, including tensions with Kate and early conflicts with staff that later became bullying allegations, were reportedly shared in confidence during those early months when Meghan believed those conversations would remain between trusted friends.
I'm not sure how far Fergie would go, and perhaps Meghan and Andrew have crossed paths. I mean, it's something that I'm not sure will even come to light. I mean, it's highly suspicious given the circles that Andrew and Meghan have obviously floated in. You know, we have photographic evidence of Meghan hanging around with friends of, who Andrew did, the Epstein circle.
And like many daughters, Eugenie would naturally speak openly with her own mother, which is why that quiet pipeline from Meghan to Eugenie to Fergie could be the very thing that keeps Meghan Markle awake at night. Because Sarah Ferguson does not need palace leaks, anonymous insiders, or secret documents. She may already have something far more valuable: direct knowledge passed along from someone Meghan trusted during the most turbulent period of her royal life. And the words people say privately when they are hurt, angry, or planning their next move are often the exact details that sell books. And suddenly, Ferguson's difficult position makes the American rejection even more unpredictable rather than less.
David Boyes, who was Virginia Giuffre's attorney, wanted Meghan Markle to give evidence in the civil trial, saying that there were things about Andrew that she knew.
That's true.
Tom Sykes at the Daily Beast described Ferguson as a woman who has effectively been pushed out of the royal structure completely, with no official role, no access to public funds, and a devastating series of setbacks, including 7 charities cutting ties within a single week after the Epstein files resurfaced emails where she reportedly referred to Jeffrey Epstein as her dream friend, while her former husband, Prince Andrew, has lost every royal title and even faced arrest related to misconduct allegations in public office, leaving Ferguson with 6 closed business ventures, mounting financial pressures, months away from public appearances, and reports suggesting she spent nearly a full month at Paracelsus Recovery in Switzerland, an exclusive wellness clinic where a stay can cost $17,000 per night.
She's gone from a £13,000 a night Zurich wellness retreat to a spa hotel, a VIP spa hotel in Ireland. She's been to the Middle East begging for money. She's got no economic options left. No one's giving her money anymore.
Other reports describe her drifting between borrowed villas, secluded golf retreats, and luxury hideaways, while friends quietly admit to reporters that her finances are in serious trouble. Yet this is also someone who has never been afraid to pull the trigger before, because back in 1996, shortly after her divorce from Prince Andrew, Ferguson released a memoir titled My Story, and one particular passage describing how she borrowed Princess Diana's shoes and later developed plantar warts from them offended offended Diana so deeply that the two women stopped speaking entirely and never reconciled, before Diana died the following year, proving long ago that Ferguson has already shown a willingness to right things that upset the palace, even when the consequences are painful.
Fergie has secrets, and her financial desperation takes her to dark places, cash for access. So I do believe that the Sussexes could and should be worried about this new development.
Radar Online now reports that Princess Eugenie is preparing space for her mother inside her oceanfront villa in Portugal, a property valued at around $4.7 million, while Prince Andrew is said to spend most of his days at Royal Lodge venting frustrations about losing his titles and passing time. Playing video games, a picture that reflects the current state of the York family, with one parent under legal scrutiny, the other seeking a memoir deal, while their daughter offers refuge abroad as her own. An royal future grows uncertain, and a friend of Ferguson told OK Magazine that any truly honest autobiography would inevitably reveal exactly where the bodies are buried within the royal family, adding that Ferguson's motivation today is driven not only by reputation, but by financial necessity as well, since she is now a 66-year-old grandmother who has battled cancer twice and watched nearly everything she built within royal life crumble in just a few months, which helps explain why the palace reaction is suddenly becoming so serious.
I believe that Andrew and Meghan have crossed paths. Meghan was friends and going on holidays with Epstein's girlfriend. There's no way that you can't tell me Meghan wouldn't have got an invite through some of her friends to attend the big lavish parties that Epstein was known for throwing, with lots of girls, some professionals, some not, some models, some D-list cable TV actresses desperate for fame.
According to In Touch Weekly, the royal family has already begun considering legal action against Sarah Ferguson in an attempt to prevent a tell-all from causing what insiders call lasting damage, which would mean suing the mother of two princesses over a book that has not even been written yet, while reports also claim Prince William has already distanced the family from Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie by excluding them from Royal Ascot, asking relatives to avoid public photographs with them, and leaving them out of official events entirely. And royal biographer Andrew Loney even told the Daily Express that both princesses should consider giving up their titles altogether, noting that Beatrice is now technically Mrs. Mapelli-Mozzi, and without the royal title, public attention might vanish quickly, which is exactly where the Meghan connection becomes critical, because if those titles disappear, then what reason would Eugenie have left to protect Meghan's private confidences, and why would Ferguson feel any pressure to hold back the palace's only leverage over the York family has always been the threat of punishment, but threats only work when someone still has something left to lose, and Ferguson has already lost her status, her home, her charities, her official role, and even the public reputation of her former husband, while Eugenie may soon lose her own title as well. And history shows that people who have nothing remaining to protect can quickly become the most unpredictable voices in the room, which is why Meghan Markle might ultimately find Sarah Ferguson far more concerning than any tabloid journalist, biographer, or palace insider who has ever leaked a story.
So there is a good chance that Meghan does know something about Andrew, because she never said anything, Harry never said anything with all of their attacks, and it makes you think, why did they protect Andrew? And it might be because Andrew could have fired back and said that he does in fact know Meghan. It could be a real tit for tat moment for them.
So what exactly could surface if such a memoir ever appears? Because this is not just about vague secrets. There are at least 4 very specific areas where a Ferguson book could challenge the Sussex version of events, and each one involves details already documented enough to survive the legal review of any publisher, starting with the famous bridesmaid dress incident, where Meghan told Oprah that Kate made her cry before the wedding, while multiple royal biographers, including Valentine Lowe and palace insiders, later suggested the opposite, claiming Meghan's actions left Kate upset. And although the palace conducted an internal investigation, the results were never made public.
When you have been lied about for a series of years, how hurtful that is. So imagine that for over a period of months and years, and you know that it isn't true.
Yet one crucial witness to that moment was Princess Eugenie, who attended the wedding and moved closely within the bridal circle, while also maintaining one of the closest relationships with Meghan inside the family at that exact time. Which means if Meghan ever confided in Eugenie about what truly happened in that fitting room, and if Eugenie shared that version Meghan privately with her mother. Then Ferguson could potentially hold something no outside biographer possesses a direct account based on what Meghan herself said behind closed doors. And if that account contradicts the story told to Oprah, the impact on Meghan's credibility could be enormous.
Here's what I would say about that. I think it's very important to shift this idea that play the opposite and make sure you can be taken seriously. My point in all of this is that no matter what you look like, you should be taken seriously.
Wow.
Another area involves the bullying allegations that surfaced in 2018 when a formal complaint was reportedly filed by palace staff accusing Meghan of difficult behavior. And the document was said to have been submitted by Jason Naff, who served as communications secretary for the Sussexes, leading the palace to launch an internal review that ultimately remained confidential, while Harry and Meghan strongly denied the accusations.
We all know that they behaved badly. We all know that they treated staff badly. We all know that Meghan definitely bullied everybody and anybody that she could, whether it be the Queen's chefs, the gardeners, Catherine and William's nanny, the Queen's dresser. I mean, Meghan really was a force when she joined that family of just being terrible to everyone.
But again, Princess Eugenie was inside the royal system during that same period, positioned close enough to Meghan to hear her perspective, yet also connected to palace staff who experienced those events firsthand, meaning whatever version of the story Eugenie may have discussed privately with her mother could now exist in Ferguson's memory, waiting to be told like a loaded narrative ready for publication, while the third major topic centers on the timeline of Megxit, since Harry and Meghan publicly framed their departure as a last resort forced by racism, intense media pressure, and lack of institutional support, even though several insiders have suggested the decision to leave had been planned months earlier than the public was told.
You know, what they're ultimately scared of with the Fergie book is alternative versions of events coming out. Since Harry and Meghan have moved here, they've monetized their version of events, not necessarily the truth, but their truth through Spotify, Netflix, and Harry's book deal.
Even Finding Freedom, the book widely seen as sympathetic to the Sussexes, acknowledged early conversations about stepping away. And if Meghan had been sharing those plans privately with Eugenie throughout 2019, long before the official announcement, then Ferguson could potentially reveal that the exit strategy was deliberate rather than reactive, which would completely shift the emotional narrative that helped the Sussex brand gain sympathy in the United States. And finally, there is the Soho House connection, where Meghan and Eugenie both moved within similar social circles before Harry entered the picture, including the influence of Marcus Anderson, a Soho House executive who helped arrange the blind date that introduced Meghan and Harry, while exclusive Soho House networks in London between 2013 and 2016 overlapped with elite groups that later came under intense attention following the Epstein file releases.
Once a Soho House basic bitch, always a Soho House basic bitch.
Jeffrey Epstein was also Harvey Weinstein, very prominent. There were members. Meghan Markle was just one of the working girls for Soho House. Call girl, working girl, escort, whatever you want to call it. That's what she was.
No one is claiming Meghan did anything improper within those circles, but the simple question of who knew whom and what conversations occurred inside those private rooms could easily become the kind of intriguing detail that a Ferguson memoir might explore, and once those stories are printed in black and white, the narrative becomes almost impossible to erase or rewrite.
Jeffrey looks very forward to hosting dinner on November 30th at 8 p.m. at Martin Novak's Institute, located at 1 Braddles Square, Suite 6. Please have the guests call or Corinna on their cell as the guest approaches the Institute so they can come down and let them in. Thank you, Leslie, assistant to Jeffrey Epstein.
That leaves 4 potential chapters, 4 separate pressure points where Meghan's carefully built story could face a completely different interpretation from someone operating far outside the influence of Montecito. And that possibility reportedly has the Sussex household extremely uneasy, not because of rumors or gossip, but because the narrative they sold to publishers for $20 million might suddenly face competition from the mother of the woman who heard many of those private conversations first. And the latest twist only adds more tension because although American publishers rejected Ferguson's initial $2 million proposal, Harry's book Spare reportedly earned advances close to $20 million, while Ferguson herself floated $11 million as her own goal, which suggests the problem may not be the story at all, but simply the price. And when someone who is reportedly financially struggling, publicly embarrassed, and watching her daughters lose their royal standing, eventually returns to those same publishers with a lower number and perhaps a chapter revealing what truly happened during the bridesmaid dress dispute, or what Meghan privately said about Kate, or when the Megxit strategy actually began, the response could change dramatically because Sarah Ferguson rejected in America, living far from royal privilege and witnessing her daughters slowly drift from the institution, may now be the one person capable of reshaping the Sussex narrative, not because she holds power, but because she may have nothing left to lose. And the person closest to her, the daughter who once lived in Meghan's own home and heard Meghan's side of the story before the world ever did, was the person Meghan trusted the most. And if this situation continues to unfold and early signals from both sides of the Atlantic suggest it just might, the next chapter could become far more explosive than anyone expected.